about 6:17 and time now for What's Trending. So there was some treasure found in the trash in Germany. Police want to know how these paintings ended up in a highway rest stop dumpster. A 64-year-old man discovered them last month and he turned them over to police. An art expert says the framed oil paintings are likely 17th century originals. One of the paintings is of a boy by Dutch artist Samuel van Hoogstraten. The other is a smiling self-portrait of Italian artist Pietro Bellotti, dating back to 1665. Authorities have launched a search for the owner of these paintings, and it's pretty interesting to hear that this guy just found them and he didn't do anything with them. He did the right thing and turned them over. But I'm surprised that they're searching for the original owner instead of maybe putting them in a museum. I mean, they look really good for how old they are.
Yeah, I would say so too. And the second one that is with the artist, that kind of gives me like a 3D look. I mean, they kind of like, surpass so many things that were discovered later on at that time. So that's really interesting. I would hope that they would get it somewhere that people can, of course, see it, learn about it, and they learn more about it themselves. So.
Yeah, I mean, with the age of these paintings there, I mean, I'm looking for the owner though. I mean, you mentioned police, so they're suspicious about something like how these ended up in the garbage cans. So I don't know what to say if there's criminal activity involved with that. I mean, anytime you get police involved, there's some suspicion, at least I would think, of some criminal activity. So what do you guys think in that regard?
I don't know.
I don't think there's criminal activity with it. I think it was probably like the best way to just say, hey, this was found. Like, maybe you guys can investigate it. But I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to take a little trip and investigate.
I mean, that would be interesting too. So.
We'll have to see. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my gosh. Coming up for this next story, those paintings might look a lot better because this house, it needs some help. A busted, smelly, vandalized home for sale is being marketed as is, and believe it or not, offers are pouring in. One real estate agent in Colorado is letting it all hang out, advertising a property for sale as the house from hell. The 5-bedroom property was vandalized a year ago by an evicted tenant, and it's covered in profane graffiti, has carpets soiled in animal waste, and a broken basement refrigerator filled with rancid meat. Agent Mimi Foster is advertising the heavily damaged home, which is also located in a landslide, as not for the faint of the heart, but full of potential. And despite being priced at nearly $600,000, Foster says she's been overwhelmed with offers, a telltale sign of the red-hot real estate market. You guys, this is really, really crazy. But just the fact that, I mean, it's so, I mean, you look at it and you're like, oh, this is a great house, and you go inside and it's just awful. It's really interesting how people are looking at it and they're still willing to, fix it up, which, I mean, this is obviously, it seems like a great house that you can do that, but oh my goodness, when it comes to sanitary measures, I would have to leave that alone.
From the outside, it looks like a nice home. You're right, but stepping in there, I don't know, $600,000 is still a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And someone's going to have to spend, I think, at least that much fixing that place.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely a lot of ambitious people looking for that at that home. Maybe, I don't know if I'd had the time to do all that work or even want to deal with just being in there with all those smells.
Yeah, I would be one of those guys where I just want to get it fixed up first by either by a company or something. If I was one of those that would buy a house like that, I'm like, oh my goodness, that is interesting. And one other thing that occurred to me too while we were talking about this story, apparently you can say hell on TV during the morning period. I didn't think you could do that, but apparently, I guess you can. So I guess I just learned something new today. I thought you were supposed to avoid even that word too. So I don't know. I just got just a random observation this morning too, as we talk about this story. Do you guys find it a little interesting?
A little bit,
yeah.
All right.
Another discussion another time.
Yeah, we'll just leave that there because this next story though is even more interesting. A baby who was born so premature, he was given a 0% chance of survival recently, celebrated his first birthday. Richard Scott William Hutchinson was born 5 months prematurely, weighing in at less than a pound. At just 21 weeks gestation, the Guinness Book of Records has recognized him as the world's most premature baby. Richard was so small his parents could hold him in the palm of their hand. And due to the pandemic, his parents were unable to stay overnight with him at the hospital. And finally, after spending more than 6 months in the hospital, Richard was able to go home with his family just in time for Christmas. A 0% chance of survival and just overcome even those odds, I mean, they didn't even give him any chance of surviving, and something must have been working in that baby's favor there, because wow, that's just amazing to have that baby survive like that.
It's such a great story, and you know, I think that 0% chance came with him just being, you know, other babies coming before him not really making it or having a chance, and for him to do this just shows how far we've come in modern medicine too.
Yeah.
But it's really, I think it provides hope for a lot of other families who might be dealing with something like this.
Absolutely, so sweet. And I mean, I can't imagine the amount of pressure and how scared the parents were, but it's just such a great thing. So it's a blessing to see him have his first birthday.
Yeah, it's scary, but just to be able to celebrate the first birthday, and it looks like that baby is on the road to hopefully a great life ahead, and hopefully there's something, stories to tell though, as that baby gets older and that family grows along as well.